YouTube, what is up? We are back with another shoot from the hip. It's your average Jason. And as you can see, I'm outside today, YouTube, going for a walk. You know, it's a beautiful day out here. Haven't had too many of these. So I just decided to get out and go for a quick walk. Get the blood flowing, get some sunshine, because that's always a good thing. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about betrayal. Yeah, that word, right? And I think everyone at some point in time in their life has been betrayed by somebody. And I'm sure, because the thing about it is that we're all a villain in somebody's story, right? So I'm sure you talk to some people, they'll say, yeah, that MFer betrayed me, whatever, right? But my personal experience with betrayal, man, and as we know, the standard operating procedure for betrayal is always people who are close to you and you never expect it from them, and that's why it hits so hard. And for people like myself who, for one, I'm not someone who have a lot of friends. I don't do a lot of friends. I don't do a lot of people. I'm an introvert by nature. So I don't give a lot of people my time and energy at all. So, when I do open up and do let someone into my life to be a part of it, that's a huge thing for me. It really is, and for someone to just come in and run amok of that, I take that very, very personal, man. That cuts deep for me. And I learned betrayal at a young age. I did. And it started with a family member. I was probably 16, 17 at the time. I was kind of I wouldn't necessarily say a smart kid, but I was younger than most of my peers. So I graduated high school a little bit early. And my mom and dad had sent me to go stay with my uncle, my mom's brother, and his wife. They had a son. He had went off to college. I think he was going to college in Virginia or somewhere there. And it was just them. They only have one kid. So, I lived with them for a year. I was going to community college out there in that area. And that was my first full-time job that I had. And it was working at CVS Pharmacy. And I enjoyed it, man. Like, to be honest with you, living with them two people for a year was very depressing. They weren't the most active people. Their marriage was weird. And I don't really want to talk about my family members like that, but I'm just telling the story from my perspective, It didn't seem like a very loving home to me. Coming from what I came from, and I'm not saying like my dad was like this very loving person either. He was a man, and a man from the 50s. But with that being said, I grew up in a home, in a community of love. My grandparents, my mom, even my dad to some extent, But, going into that environment, man, it was very cold. Like, that house was always dreary and dark. But anyways, my mom and dad had sent me out there to go to college for about a year, right? And it wasn't the best experience, but I stayed low. I followed their rules. I played by their rules. I was a good kid, man. I didn't get into anything. I just went to school, went to work, came home, kept my head down, and that was it. And I can tell my aunt, my uncle's wife, she wasn't really into me like that. I can tell from the get-go, but I figured, hey, my mom and dad, and they weren't rich people by any means, My mom wasn't really working. My dad was the breadwinner of the family. And, this was his way of saying, listen, I'm giving you a heads up in life for you to go out there and make something of yourself. So I'm going to pay for this year of college for you, and you decide what it is you need to do with that. So my dad didn't just send me out there to just live with them either. Little did I know, and I found this out after the fact while I'm talking to my sister, that my dad was sending anywhere of upwards of $5,000 a month to my aunt and uncle to sustain my living out there, right? So anyways, I'd gotten this job, and I was working this job for a year, loved it, met some really cool kids, had a good time working there. And every paycheck I got, every 2 weeks, I would give to my aunt to deposit in a savings account for me, right? So at the end of it, after school got done with and all that, and I was going to go home for the summer, I looked at my aunt and was like, hey, can we go pull all that money out that I was giving you? And I was pretty much giving her my entire check. I maybe kept about $50-$60 for myself to, for bus fare and food and stuff like that throughout the week for school, because I didn't ask them for anything. And my aunt looked at me, and I saw her got up. She got her fat ass up, walked in the bedroom, and her fat ass waddled back out with a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, she had wrote down rent, clothes, food, and it all had a dollar amount to it. And I'm looking at this piece of paper like, what does this mean? Well, come to find out, that raggedy bitch was charging me what I was putting in my savings account, even though my dad was sending her $4,000 or $5,000 a month, guys. And I'm telling you, man, I'll never forget that feeling, and I'll never forget that moment. And that was the first time. I was 17 years old, and that was the first time I felt betrayal, man, from a family member. And I tell you what, man, that was a very hard lesson to learn at that age. My second experience with betrayal, major betrayal, was when I was married to my ex-wife. And, man, it's funny because, during that whole relationship marriage, she would always accuse me of cheating on her. Like, it was just so quick for her to accuse me of cheating on her. And it never dawned on me once. It never dawned on me once that she was the one cheating, because for one, I was young and she was older than I am. She was at least 8-9 years older than I am. And it never dawned on me that she was the one that was cheating, because she was always blaming me and having me on the defense, and I couldn't think about that. And being so young and inexperienced at the time, getting involved with her, I didn't realize the games she was playing. So, years later, we broke up, separated, divorce papers got signed, marriage got dissolved, and I came across an old phone. I had a box of stuff, and she must have had an old phone in there. It was one of them old Nokia phones, right? And I plugged it in. I thought it was mine. Well, it was hers. So I plugged it in, had it charged up. And Nokias, them things always work, right? So I plugged it in, man. It charged up, and I started seeing some messages popped up on there. And none of them messages were from me. They were from this guy that she used to be involved with when she was in Job Corps. If anybody knows what Job Corps is, and the whole time in our relationship, she was communicating with this guy, reminiscing about their experiences that they had together, you know. And come to find out, she had a baby for this dude, but she had a miscarriage. I didn't know any of this. Been married to this woman for years, had 2 kids with her, had no idea about any of this. Not only that, come to find out, she was also reaching out to other dudes via the internet, sending them pictures and things of that nature. You know, man, and while that may have been years later that I found that out, that shit still cut deep, man. That shit had cut me deep. You know, and I knew then that you just can't trust people fully, man. You just can't. You know, and it be your own people. It be the people that are close to you, man. It be your own people, sometimes your own kind, which leads me into this next story. Now, I got, and I've always had a hard time making friends with FBAs, Foundational Black Americans. I've always had a hard time making friends with them. If you guys don't know, I'm Jamaican. I was born in Jamaica. My dad is Asian. My mom is black. You know, so I've always had a hard time making friends with Black Americans, man. They would kind of separate me from them, which is cool. I get it. You know, just because we skin folk don't mean we kinfolk. You know what I'm saying? Even though we all from the same African diaspora, but they always treated me different in school, in college. You know, I actually made better friends with white people than I did with black folks, man. I got one black American friend, and he's my brother, man. I'll take a bullet for him, and I know he'd take a bullet for me. But outside of that, all of my other close friends, really, really good friends, are either white or Hispanic. But this dude, man, this ninja, right? And we know ninja's gonna always ninja. This ninja, man, when I got with my my fiance, well, we're not together anymore, but when I got with her, this dude talked so much shit about this woman. He did. He talked so much shit about her, man. So much shit about her. Then, not long after we broke up, guess who was in our inbox? You know, me and him ain't friends. We haven't been friends now for a long time. I'd cut him off a long time ago. But that was somebody who I considered damn near family at one point in time. And because he was disrespectful, that's why I cut him off and I never deal with him, because I ain't got no problem cutting people off. Oh, quick. You disrespect me, you get cut off quickly. I don't tolerate it. And I'm not going to go bother you, man. I'm not going to go say shit to you. You know, I'm not going to go bother your family. I'm not going to say anything to you. I'll see you out and I'll just keep it moving. But guess, and this dude is married, guess who was in her DMs the minute he found out we broke up? That's what I'm saying, man. It be your own people. It be your own kind. It be your own people. It be your own kind that betray you, man. And I tell you what, man, there's been other instances in my life where people have done me wrong. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a saint by any means. You know, I'm sure I'm a villain in somebody's story. You know, that's without a doubt. But I can tell you this, man. I'm a loyal person, man. I am. And if I consider you a friend, you know what I'm saying, and I let you in my world, that is not an easy thing for me to do, and I don't take that lightly. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, I don't do things that I know is just dirty and grimy. I don't do things like that, man. Not to other people, because I know what that would feel like, what that would make that person feel like. And I'd rather just not speak to you ever again than do some shit like that. You know? So, that's why I'm on this villain arc, man. You know, whatever you want to call that. What these YNs call a villain arc these days, It's what I'm on, man. And I've been on this arc for a while now. And I don't apologize for how I behave. I don't apologize anymore for things that I say. I say what I say and I mean what I say. And I stand on business and principle. And if you don't like it, I don't give a shit. Don't care anymore. And I just tell it like it is. And if you got a problem with it, you got two options. You can keep it moving, or you can talk to me face to face. So I stay on my villain arc, man. I don't care what society thinks anymore. I've been done wrong so many times that it don't really matter to me anymore. So just wanted to share that story with you guys, man. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday. I'm gonna finish up this walk. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe.